who's the Vice Chair of the Kenya National Commission on Human Rights. As always, we have our lead reporter, Sophia Wanuna, who has details for us regarding this report. Sophia, good evening. There's been a lot of hue and cry regarding alleged excessive use of force by the police. And this report today, what more can you tell us about it?
Good evening, everyone. Yes, the police service is yet again on the spot, and this time around, following that report from the government pathologist, the post-mortem examination that was witnessed by IPOA, IMLU as well was present during that exercise that found quite a significant number, as you mentioned there, over 10 at least of the 18 were people that died off of bullet wounds. And that statement earlier from the police had indicated that no live ammunition was used in the quelling this protest and the running battles that were witnessed when Raila Odinga was coming back to the country. So yet again, the spotlight on the police, excessive force, brutality. Those are the kind of words we're hearing being cited at this time. And during the electioneering period, all the way from the 8th of August up to right after the repeat presidential election that was held on the 26th, we have seen several deaths being reported and warranted, Yvonne. Hue and cry over the same. Kids as young as 6 months old. We have since seen the DPP forward a recommendation, or rather the police to the DPP for prosecution and clear what IPOA in forwarding this particular file, what the recommendation and their findings were in investigating the circumstances under which these children were killed during this situation. Because even today, Yvonne, in that post-mortem examinations, one of the victims was a person that died with a stray bullet. They were in their house, minding their business, going about their lives. They were not out in the streets. They were not protesting. They were not any way involved in the political scenario of that particular day, but they fell victim. And so this is a conversation that continues to put the police on the spotlight. They have always maintained that they will always act on those that attack the police. But even in this report that was the exercise that was conducted today, and in the report, you'll notice that in 2 cases where the police said they shot other protesters because they were attacking them, the government pathologists found that they were shot in the back. They were running away. So that what the police had indicated in their reports earlier, that these protesters were attacking and coming towards the police wielding machetes, then would be incorrect going by what was found, that they were shot in the back actually trying to flee. And this goes against what the Police Act indicates. And as far as when faced and countering such a situation, how do you demobilize an individual? Do you shoot to kill, as in execution, which is a word we have seen IMLU before in their reports, talking about what we've witnessed in this electioneering period, saying that some of the killings have been execution style. It hasn't been in what we know to be operational police standards. And we'll hear more from the government spokesperson tonight, who was formerly police spokesperson. So very key questions arising from this, because Yvonne, also what we heard from the police before was that these individuals that had died in this period of time died as a result of mob justice. So this was coming immediately after these bodies had been delivered to the mortuary, the morgue. And the question that rises is, what time was there for them to determine it was mob justice? What investigation had taken place in that period of time? So that, in a sense, the police have been caught in a lie with this report from the government pathologists. So we're waiting to hear what they say about this, because at the end of the day, the new constitution set out to have Kenya have a police service. Before, we had a police force. But many a times since this period began, with all of the activities and very many fatalities that have been witnessed so far, many are beginning to see those side of strides being drawn back, with many feeling that we're seeing more of a force, and many even questioning analysts we've seen many a times in the electioneering period and the politics of the day getting into the policing of the state, citing, is there a sense that they're not being neutral and leaving and sticking to their mandate as they should? So Yvonne, critical questions, and tonight it will be important to be able to hear even more from the parties concerned, because even the Human Rights Watch international community has called out for the police to be able to show more restraint. And you'll remember, even before we went to a repeat election, after the first election was annulled and there were lives that were lost, President Kenyatta, in his first speech at the time, called on restraint on the police. So even at that highest level, realizing that there was a problem, brutality, excessive force was already being witnessed. We've not heard from the bosses who are in charge of the security agencies, but at the time we did hear from the presidents urging the security agencies to exercise restraint. So Yvonne, this yet another matter rising